Perpelaki, a name that's whispered in the parks and playgrounds of Merseyside. A threat made to kids. A name I've known all my life. Watch out, or Perpelaki will get you. A bogeyman that nobody was really sure even existed. When I was at school here, we'd all joke about him. We'd wonder if he was real. We'd make threats, saying he was going to come and get you. And we'd laugh, but we'd be a little bit scared. Even on a wet Monday night in July, everyone in Liverpool knows Perpelaki. Do you know Perpelaki?
Yeah, I know of him.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this guy, like, yeah.
It is kind of like a ghost story almost
Yeah.
that goes around the playground to scare people.
It's like an urban legend, but then when you see him,
But then when you see him, you like, your heart goes.
Yeah.
I've seen him once in Birkenhead Market.
I've seen him in Limesey, like my dad there works at Limesey train station.
I actually saw him the other day coming down the escalator in the Central Library in Liverpool.
What does he look like?
He's big, really big, like just really big.
I heard he's like this really like massive guy.
He does
Yeah.
look like a scary person.
Yeah.
Because he just looks like he'd take it in a fight no matter what.
Yeah.
He's infamous, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
fighting for the wrong reasons, though.
Why do you think he is?
Because he asks people to squeeze the muscles, doesn't he?
He touches men's muscles and boys' muscles and follows them to the gym.
My dad knew him when he was a kid, and my dad said he's always been a bit of a alone, a bit of a weirdo.
Everyone at some point has seen him or been chased by him or whatever.
Everyone knows him. The bogeyman of Liverpool, that's all he is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Everyone in Liverpool has heard of Perpelaki. Everyone thinks they've spotted him and felt a shiver. But why is everyone so scared of him?
I'd always been interested in, from tiny age, being strong, being bigger. I used to like the Hulk, I used to watch Popeye. My dad used to get me spinach in a tin. As soon as I turned 12, they let me get a weight set. And that's it now. I was 15 at the time, and I was walking across the road, and this big black fella banged into me. And he said, I know you, don't I? And I said, I don't think so. And he said, I do. What gym do you train at? So I told him, and he said, well, I train there, that's where I know you from. He was like, well, let me just show you these murderers on trial in the law courts. I was like, I don't want to see any murderers on trial. Straight away, he turned on me and said, you're being racist, you don't want to come with me because I'm black. And I was like, shocked. I was like, my dad's from Egypt, I'm not racist. Anyway, we went in the law courts, and this is where it gets a bit weird. Went into a little tiny room. So he said, take your top off. But I want to see your muscles. I was like, I don't want to take my top off. He's like, why, what's wrong with it? You do bodybuilding, I'm into bodybuilding, I just want to see your muscles, that's it. He was stood in front of the door, I had nowhere to go. In the end, took my top off. And he's got me doing all these bodybuilding poses, he's looking at me. He's like, right, I want to see how strong you are. Get me in a fireman's lift and squat me. So I was like, no chance. He's like, why not? He started getting a bit aggressive. Anyway, I just ended up doing it.
So he's on your back?
He's on here like this. Fucking massive, 6'5" he is. He was sweating loads, and I remember thinking, why are you sweating? After I put him down, he wasn't in front of the door, so I just opened the door and legged it. Ran all the way to the train station, train back to Formby. 2-3 weeks after this has happened, I was on my bike, riding home about 11 at night. Next thing, he jumps out, grabs me. He's like, I've brought me tape measure to measure your muscles. He tried to put it around my leg, and that's when I pushed him and ran, banging on the door. Mum, Dad, that big black fella's here. My dad and his mate run out looking for him. He's gone. We got the police. The police were like, is this him? I was like, yeah.
They had a picture of him.
A picture of him, Akinwale Arabiki. You might have heard of him, Purple Aki.
No one knows much about Purple Aki. All they know is his name, Akinwale Arobieki. In court, he said his nickname's racist. He's being questioned by the police about muscle touching nearly 70 times. You have to go back to the 80s to understand how come his name's so feared.
Oh, I can't do this. I'm all nervous. Gary Kelly.
So who is Gary to you?
Gary Kelly was my boyfriend. Gary was a big lad. He was 6 foot, and he was absolutely adored football and was constantly playing football. So he was quite well built and had big legs, and I think that's what Purple Aki liked, was his legs.
What did you know about Purple Aki?
To be honest with you, I didn't know nothing about him. I'd never heard of him until he started harassing Gary. He was like a bloody ghost, because you're at the bus stop and there's no one there. And the next minute, he's there in the bus stop right next to you, and you're like, where did he just come from? Because you didn't see him coming. It was like he just appeared. Gary was absolutely terrified of him. Yeah, really scared. Really, really scared. Yeah. But you would be, wouldn't you? He'd be standing in the entry at the side of his house, so you wouldn't know that he was there. And as Gary would leave my house and walk over, he'd just step out the entry. And then Gary would go down the entry with him, and that's where he used to make Gary do the squats and stuff. Gary said that he would get excited by that. So that's why Gary went to the police in the end and got a harassment order. And the order was Purple Aki wasn't supposed to come over to Birkenhead. He was supposed to stay on, he wasn't allowed over the Mersey. He was supposed to stay on the Liverpool side, and he didn't. We got up on the Sunday morning. It was a really lovely day. Gary had made plans to go to New Brighton back with all his friends. I come home and I was in the bath, and then the next minute I heard his mum screaming. Something to do with Purple Aki following him or chasing him. When he came out of the swimming bath, Purple Aki was at the entrance. Gary spotted him. He spotted Gary. Gary panicked, because obviously he's been and snitched on him and he's got the police involved, and so Gary must have panicked and ran to get the hell out of there and get home. And I think he tried to mingle in the crowd. Purple Aki followed him to the train station, and then he's just gone into panic mode and thought, I've got to get away. And his only escape would have been to cross the lines and escape over the fences. He got caught on the lines and got electrocuted.
Aki was convicted of manslaughter, but it was overturned because there was no evidence that he'd actually threatened or even touched Gary. Aki's defence was he was the victim of racism. He was just on the platform, looking at trains. It's almost as if fear had killed Gary Kelly.
Everywhere you went, there was like writing all over, like train stations and walls, R.I.P. Gary Kelly, always remember Gary Kelly. And obviously, I think loads of slanderous stuff about Purple Aki.
I mean, growing up, I've heard so many people pretend that they've seen him. You know, there's always a kid in school who's.
Do you think they pretend that they've seen him, or do you think they've actually seen him?
I just didn't even know he existed at first. So
I can't believe that you didn't think he existed.
I don't think many people did.
No.
I wondered if Aki was a bit of a victim in all this. A big black man in a white city with an odd obsession with muscles. The fear came from the unknown. But then I met Kelly Mullaney. She's moved to the other end of the country, and even now she doesn't feel safe.
When I was about 13, 14, going to the local park, you had to pass the forest, and they always said Purple Aki lives down there. Growing up, it was a myth. I didn't believe him. I just used to think Purple Aki doesn't exist.
When did the myth become a reality?
As I got a bit older. We were outside the shop and we were drinking cider. It was like Mad Dog 2020, something like that. And then we were just all hanging about and he just turned up in this silver Granada. Everybody's just like, oh my God, it's Purple Aki. He's just purple and huge. There's just no one else like him. One day I was going home and Aki was trying to touch my brother and feel my brother's arms. So I said to him, I'm gonna phone the police if you don't leave my brother alone. Get away from the boys and move. When I got home, it was about half an hour later, I was bang, bang, bang on the door. So I looked out the window and he was like, come down here. I was like, I'm not coming down. He came round with a gun, put it through my letterbox and said, you're fucking dead, you're dead, you're dead. They were the exact words. You're fucking dead, you're dead, you're dead. I phoned the police. There was like 6 or 7 police cars there within a minute. And yeah, he got charged with threats to kill against me.
Aki was sentenced to 2.5 years, but there was no evidence of any gun. When he got out, an extraordinary sexual offences order was made, banning him from touching, feeling or measuring muscles. Loitering near schools, gyms or sports clubs, going into Widnes, Warrington or St Helens. What's it like being someone who sent down Purple Aki?
To be honest, when I'd done it, I was like, why the hell have I just done that? You know, this is going to make my life hell sort of thing. And I ended up moving down here, which has changed my life completely.
So you had to move away?
Yeah. Just to be on that safe side. And that's like 16 years later, you know?
Since then, Aki's gone from terrifying bogeyman to a bit of a joke.
Oh, he's 6 foot 6 and he's 20 stone.
I tracked him down to an address in Liverpool and got a number for his solicitor. So I got a letter back from Aki saying, could you please stop calling round to my home? You have my solicitor's name and number. It's odd to have heard back from a man who, at the start, I wasn't even really sure existed. And now I have something physical and real. This is a man who is known for harassing people, and he sent us a letter saying to basically stop harassing him. It's a bit surreal. A few months ago, Aki got the sexual offences order overturned. The judge agreed muscle touching wasn't a sex crime. Aki said he was reforming,
He may no longer inspire fear, but he still haunts people.
I didn't tell anyone I was pregnant until after his dad's funeral, which was 6 weeks. The timing just didn't seem right to be telling people that I'm carrying his baby, and so, Ben, this is Jamie Lee.
Hey, Jamie.
Jamie Lee's my
Hey,
daughter.
okay?
Sorry for invading your house.
It's okay.
For a lot of people, it's a joke. He is a boogeyman. He's like, my boyfriend says people walk through town and if they see him, they'll take selfies.
That's
And
crazy.
but not a lot of people are aware of what happened to my dad. It's a sickening dip in my stomach because that actually happens to people. And he, do you know?
Do you think people know who he really is?
No, not at all.
Who is he really?
Don't know. Even from someone whose life he's affected, don't know who he is.